Aquarius.
Hello Aquarius, this is your astrology forecast for June 2016, and you have the Sun, Venus, and the new moon in the 5th house, which I call the house of joy. It is the area in our life where self-expression and creativity and leisure time, hobby time, romantic time all comes into play. Also that with your children here, but listen, we have a lot of retrogrades going on, and that was also the case in May when both Jupiter and Mercury too were added to the mix. But we still have a lot of retrogrades going on here in June, and let's talk about here now Mars, which will be retrograding here until June 29th. Now, Mars is your action, it's your physical drive, and you might just feel that that energy is a little bit held back while it is moving backwards. But it is time to look back over what it is now of projects that's been laying around that you haven't really got to. Mars for you is in your 10th house for career, and so that allows you to kind of look back over your career path. Have you achieved the goals that you set out to do? Are there delays right now? And if so, what do you think the higher intention or meaning from the universe that would be for you? It's time to kind of go a little slow right now and try to get a vision from a different vantage point, and try to think or rethink or tweak your career so that once Mars moves directly here from next month, you can really start picking up, because not only has it been here in its transit through your career house, but it's given you all this extended time through the retrograde, and it is for a reason. Now, Mars will only go through your career house once every 2 years, and not always do you get the benefit of having a retrograde in this area. So see it as a blessing, extended time, so that you can really get all your little ducks in a row as far as what it is you truly desire. And I use the word desire because your 10th house is Scorpio, and that is exactly where Mars is right now. So it really gets to the core of your passion and what it is you want. So it's working out, even though it's a little slow right now, but that is working for you, not necessarily against you. But the Sun and Venus is in this 5th house of joy. The Sun is the expression of who you are, and Venus is love and romance, and it's money. They're both in the sign of Gemini. So Aquarius, right now, you get to download and embed how it feels to be that Gemini spirit this month. And we know that the Geminis have that gift of gab, right? They communicate a lot. So you might find yourself communicating much more with a deeper desire or need to interact socially in that way. But Gemini is also all about knowledge and wanting to know why things are the way they are. They're just naturally curious. So this month you might find yourself being a little bit more curious about certain things that you will maybe be researching or deepening yourself into. And the new moon is in this area here for you as well, 14 degrees in Gemini. And since it's a new moon, it always symbolizes and triggers new beginnings. And so what do you feel is new here this month? Well, since it's in the area of romance, you might find a new love if you are single. If you're in a relationship, you might just feel that it's time to rekindle the fire a little bit, get the heat going. And any other planet that you might have at 14 degrees will be triggered by this new moon. So that means it's time to put down our intentions and write that abundance check to yourself if you do. And so what would those intentions be? Well, with all the joy and the fun and the unfoldment of just doing what you love to do when you have time off, that is what you want to put to the universe, as if you're promising yourself, I'm going to be good to implement this every month. And you will have 12 months where this can be active by really triggering it now with those intentions. it'll be a whole year before you have this going for you. So that is the sun, that is Venus, love. You're going to be talking about love. You're going to be spending more time with your loved one or with your children. But the fifth house is also the businesses that you own. If you have one, you might put more love, attention, and focus onto this area. And since the new moon is there, that is good. New beginnings. However, though, we still have quite a few retrogrades going on. And so it might not be the best of time to launch anything, especially with the transits that this month is holding for all of us. And we're going to go through that when we go through the list of the calendar. It's a little bit of a tricky month this month. So whereas it might not be the best of time to launch a new business, you can still plan, you can visualize, you can download all these brainstorming ideas that you might be receiving and then implement it a little bit later this summer. Jupiter is moving direct, so thank God. We love when Jupiter is direct because she delivers generosity and expansion where things are growing, and it's really supportive of you and who you are. Jupiter for you is still in this 8th house now. You may be looking into resources here with your partner or significant other, as the 8th house is not just the house of intimacy, since it is a Scorpio house, but it's also those resources that you have, maybe affiliations with banks and investment programs and so forth, maybe your retirement funds, inheritances or royalties and commissions. Those kind of things here, now Jupiter will start picking up and moving forward. Hopefully, I'm not saying that you can expect maybe a raise, but there could be more money coming in that you could put into savings, which is also ruled here by the 8th house. But then let's talk about Saturn. Saturn is retrograde to that of August 12th, and Saturn is our inner sense of authority. Externally, it's other authorities, authority figures, even to the point of the government, right? But it rules karma. And Saturn in your chart is retrograding in the 11th house for hopes and dreams, your wishes. It rules friendships, groups and organizations. Saturn has been retrograde for quite a few months, will be until August 12th. So you might still feel that this area of your chart might have slowed down, slowing down your social activity. When it's retrograde, it's sleeping. But it could also bring unfinished business from the past. Old friends may be coming back in to karmically balance things out. You can come to see that. And then we have Neptune also retrograde and will be to November 20th. And Neptune is all about our visions. It's our spirituality. And it is in your 2nd house for money and income. And it means that you, in very many creative ways, could come to attract money into your life above and beyond what you're doing in your career. It could be sideline things coming in too. Now that Neptune is retrograde, it's a little bit weakened. We just want to make sure that money isn't leaking through. Think about Neptune as the ruler of the ocean. Try to hold water in your hand, right? It will be there for a moment and then it'll just leak through. And so if you feel that there is leakage in your income or the money or your bank account, your wallet, well, then it's time to plug it up. Make sure that you go back and look over your accounts and so forth. Good thing to use your Neptune for right now. And then last but not least of the retrogrades, is Pluto to September 26th. Now Pluto is that pivotal point of transformation. It's what brings down everything of old structures that have already outgrown their purposes in our life, just so it can restructure, rebuild a stronger foundation within yourself, in your consciousness. And for you, Pluto is in the 12th house, which rules more so everything behind the veil. It's your subconsciousness, your higher consciousness, spirituality here, Aquarius. So when he's retrograde, well, there's just not too much going on. But I would say, pay attention to your dreams. Pluto can do wonders there, as far as giving you insights to your own future. But like I said, this month can be a little tricky for all of us. And there's quite a few squares and oppositions. That means challenges where the planets are up against things. Now in May, if you go back and listen, May started out really nice, beautiful aspects and whatnot. But then towards the latter part of the month, yes, there were a few transits that were starting to become a little trying. And this is where we're starting off here on June 1st, which is the Sun. The essence of who you are is always the Sun, and Venus, which rules the principle of love but also money. Now, both of them, on the 1st of June, they're squaring up on Neptune. Neptune can, when it's in a good place, really, create vision and the higher spiritual insights that we hold. But when it's lower in frequency, it can really create deception, disappointments, muddled communications, confusion, escapism, all of those things, right? So something here on the 1st that you're passionate about, because the Sun and Venus, they love being together. The one feeds the other. So that conjunction there is good. However, it's squaring off on Neptune. So the scenario here could be that, say, you're saying something or sharing some insight. You know what you're saying, but the person who's listening might perceive it differently. They might just hear what they want to hear, not necessarily what you're saying. So on the 3rd, already, just after a couple of days, boom, here we go. The Sun and Venus, the same two, will now be in opposition to Saturn, which rules karma, or inner authority, other people's sense of authority. And so if something was misunderstood or muddled on the 1st, now you could probably hear something to the likes of, well, you said this and you promised this, and you'll say, I never said that. I didn't promise that. So it's like somebody's talking and whoever is listening, there's mixed communication, double signals and crossed wires and whatnot. So be very clear on what you're hearing and what you're speaking there around the 1st. Now, this frustration is going to continue to build because on the 9th, we have Mercury and Mars at odds. They're in opposition, coming from totally different angles. Now, Mercury ruling your mind, your thoughts, your communication, it's over there. All your attention is in that direction. But your body, your physical energy is 180 degrees running in the other opposite direction. So here we go. It is not aligned. And of course, that can cause a lot of frustration. People can become very frustrated. You can become very frustrated. We all can, and you might see it around you at work or in traffic. Just pay attention to people honking their horns that much more there on the 9th. So just a little bit low-key, know that even this shall pass. Then on the 12th and the 14th, this is nice. We have like this little island in the middle of all this frustration going on. That's Venus and the Sun both will be receiving a very beautiful aspect to Uranus. And Uranus is direct, so there's nothing there that should really cause any conflict. Uranus is always that planet that brings us the unexpected, like surprises. And since it's a good aspect, well then, that should be also good news. This is coming from the area of the 5th house, which is joyful and happy and romantic and creative. And Uranus coming here to you from the 3rd house, which rules communication, short distance travel, siblings or what. This is where this news is coming to you or from you to one of your siblings. Now on the 17th through the 20th, we're still dealing with those issues from early on in the month, so they're not really solved yet. This is Saturn and Neptune squaring off on each other. So now it's really Saturn wanting to establish what really was said or promised, whereas the other side of the party is saying, well, that was never the deal. That wasn't the situation. Here's the deal. So whatever was, I can't say deceptive, but it could be. I think it's more a muddled misunderstanding communication Well, it's still trying to solve itself. There's going to be more discussions coming up on the 20th when Mercury, which rules our communication and being online, talking, or whoever face to face, will be here in opposition to Saturn and into square with Neptune. So you can see whatever was false or not right, Saturn is trying to get to the bottom of this to straighten it out, and that Saturn can definitely be you wanting to adjust to make fairness out of this whole ordeal. So whatever that is for each and every one of you could be a little different, right? But on the 26th, we have Jupiter now going direct, beautifully here in a supportive golden beam to Pluto. Now Jupiter ruling abundance and generosity and expansion in our life. This is your 8th house, trining off on Pluto, which for you here is in your 12th house. So the 8th and 12th house are water houses. They're quite psychic. They're very emotional areas of your life. And it really has to do with balancing out those things that the universe knows that is coming your way. So it could be financial, but it could also be something spiritual, and it could definitely have something to do which really gets down into those deeper, more passionate levels, as well as Pluto rules passion. But they both rule money. Jupiter rules big money. Venus rules just the principle of money. But that could be pennies, dimes, and nickels. Jupiter is more big money, but Pluto could be really big money. So in that case, that could be it. Now, on the 20th also, we have, I skipped that, which is the full moon. Here at 29 degrees in Sagittarius, which is your 11th house, for social activity, spending time with your friends. This is the stage that's going to be illuminated there. And since it's at that last degree, within the first couple of hours, that full moon is going to bleed into your 12th house and illuminate that area, which essentially does have to do with your spirituality and all those things that are working for you behind the dimensional veil. Then on the last aspect that we have here is Venus and Neptune. Venus rules love. Neptune is that higher octave of love. So this could be a beautiful date night to circle in on your calendar. Venus is quite happy here in a golden beam. Neptune is still good. It is retrograde, so it may not be at its strongest, but when the two of them are in a harmonious aspect, it's still going to be quite good. It's a very creative aspect, so if you're going to go to a concert, go watch a dance, whatever, it's going to be beautiful. Fine wine and dining is great for these two planets. But I would also suggest listening to the Tarot Scope here for this month, because that will give you a whole different type of insight of activities and actions and people and places that you can come to experience this month here in June as well. And listen here, Aquarius, it's always great to speak with you, meet you here every month, and I will see you in July. Bye now.